Well then, guys, an interesting round 18 team list. We've obviously got a lot of guys being named to be backing up for their respective clubs following Origin, but we'll have to see, through the next few days. Obviously, after how Origin goes tomorrow night, and see if they are going to back up. But I'd be positioning your team according to, a couple of them, at least half of your guys. If you have sort of 4 players looking to back up, I'd be sort of making note that possibly a couple of them won't make their respective club games. Someone like Trbojevic is playing a couple of days after, so I wouldn't expect him to to be playing, for example. But you can work that out as you go along. But we'll start with the Titans and the Eels. Not too much to talk about on the Titans side. We do have 3 guys backing up. With Brimson being one of those guys, Fodawaker, and also Tino. So they're all named there. And if they don't back up, or if any one of them don't, I'd imagine Peachy would go back into his middle position role. He's got Lasone and Jolliffe and these guys to play that sort of middle forward role. But, the way the team's set out right now, it's named exactly the same as last week. So will Peachy play that 9 role, come on and play the 20 minutes off the bench, or is he going to go back into his normal middle position role? We won't know. Someone would have to ask the coach for us. But if I was a Peachy owner, he's such a valuable centerpiece. If he's playing his normal role, he's averaging close to 50, and that's awesome, especially in a when most teams have Averillo at the moment, and there's every chance that he doesn't become doesn't maintain his position as the clear top center option. So I think holding Peachy for a week or 2 could be ideal to see if his role changes or if that was just a one-off thing, because he has been pretty good for their squad. So that's that there. If you don't have a feeder on your side, this is the week to target him. He's not playing Origin. It kind of worked out perfect for fantasy coaches where he didn't have to play. Sorry, he gets suspended for the Origin game, and doesn't, especially for New South Wales fans too. So he gets suspended for that game and gets to play full strength for the Titans. So he's a clear captaincy option this week for sure. On the other side of the game, we've got guys like Gutho who are still decent options. Brown and Moses. Moses is obviously a clear one to pick. We got Reed Mahoney coming back as well, so I'd be probably watching him for a week and then maybe look to pick him up. If you're looking to go Brayley straight to him, that's completely fine. Also, just be worried that he's coming back from a decent injury and might not be okay. I imagine he's decent, but he might be an 80-90%er rather than 100%. So I don't see them rushing him back, though. That's the only question. If you've got Papali'i or you don't have him, I think he's definitely a trade-in. Going to play every game from now on. One of the top mids, has the dual position in the edge position as well. Awesome pickup. If you got Madison, I'd be holding steady like I'll be doing myself. So that's that. Just be wary of those Origin guys. We move to the Eagles. Our biggest news is going to be Josh Schuster has been named back in the number 12 jersey. We move Carl Lawton back to the bench. So what that means is for coaches, he should be getting some big minutes. Not sure if it'll be 80 as Lawton might come on to replace him, but that's something to work out. If you think that maybe you've got an extra backup center in your team or something like that, I'd be playing Schuster over your backup center. Whether it be like I'm tempted to, if I have 18 players this week, if Crichton backs up, that I would play Schuster over like a Manu or something like that if he's playing in the centers. So something to think about with him there, and he's not an urgent sell. With him playing this week, I'd be keeping him in my side unless you got a big upgrade. If you want to go him to like a Payne Haas or something like that, then that's completely fine. But if not, I'd be holding steady and seeing how he goes this week and making a decision from there. Be wary of Trbojevic, guys. As I said, they're playing on the Friday night, so only a couple of days, so 48 hours after their game on Wednesday night. So there's a very, very small chance I think Trbojevic plays. With the state of hamstring injuries, the reoccurrence rate happens from fatigue and overuse. So I'd suggest that he won't be backing up from that one. With the Dragons there, what we see is a few of the guys being suspended only. So you see Alvaro, Dufty, Fuimaono, and Vaughan missing out this week. So obviously Vaughan's gone completely, but they're the 4. And you'll see guys like Bird, if you have him, who will miss out over the next few weeks. So probably good that he's back this week with a few of the Origin guys going to be missing, but we will, if you own him and you only have the 2 centers, he will miss the game over the next few weeks. So just be careful with that one. DeBellin moves to the 10 role. You got Jackson 40 and 13. So their team's going to be a bit everywhere at the moment. I wouldn't be looking to touch any of these guys other than Ben Hunt. I think he's a clear trade-in target this week, especially after seeing how he pulls up from Origin. And if he does pull up well, he'll be a good trade-in target this week. If not, the following weeks from there. And same with DCE as to how he pulls up from his games. Garrick moves back to the wing guys, and if Trbojevic doesn't play, he'll move back to that number 1 role. If you're looking at Tapau, I think there's better options now. He was good for the buy round option, but not anymore. And Jermaine Tanua-Brown moves over on a 1 month loan deal to the Dragons because they're missing out. They're going to be missing so many players. So thanks to the Warriors for that one. Keep doing all the good things. Can we mention what Sean Johnson said in his little tweet, and also his reaction to that question straight after the game? I just wanted to mention how sad it is that that if they want him to find out like that, and not actually get told by the club or anything like that, to find out straight after the game is a bit sad. But I completely agree with what he said in the Twitter post about moving the whole game, all of the games over to New Zealand for the foreseeable future. I think they definitely deserve it. So I just wanted to mention that in this video there. Raiders and Sharks. So we got Savage, who plays the number 1 role. We spoke about this. He's going to get that for the next bit. But as I said to guys, cash out. We don't actually need to play him this week with everyone coming back for the majority. Unless you're sitting with like 5 or 6 Origin players and you need Savage, then that's that there. In terms of the rest of their team, we got Corey Harawira-Naera in there, but I wouldn't be picking him up at any stage. I'll be holding steady. If you're looking at the Sharks players, Johnson and Trindle's the same, very much the same team. Ramey and Johnson are keepers in this team, like we spoke about the whole time. Not too much else changes on that front. Moving along to Cowboys Roosters. Again, we've got the Holmes' name to back up. Same with Hamiso. Tamalolo being a good option now. I'd probably still be selecting Haas, Papali'i, Crichton, all these guys ahead of him. Just keep that in mind. If you're looking at Lolo, we'd still like to see a few more better games out of him. I just picked him last week because he was playing in round 17. It was a good little springboard to do that. On the Roosters side, Tedesco's been named, Crichton's been named, which is great if you own them. If they happen to get rested, they obviously get to play on Saturday, which is an extra day's rest for them. If they get rested, you'll see Manu go back to 1, Isaac Liu probably go back to 11. We actually see Takiaho out of the side completely, which is interesting. I don't know if there's an injury to him or anything, but have a look at that if you have him, but I don't think many would at this stage. If you held Sam Walker this time, I think it's the best time to get rid of him now. Sam Verrills, if you have to play him, you'll probably get another 30 out of him. But yeah, let's hope Crichton plays, for example. Other than that, not too much to talk about with those teams. Moving along to Storm and Knights. And this one here's the interesting one. Pappenhausen is not named in number 1. Nico Hines is still there, which is great if you own Nico. We can keep him for another week or 2. It sounds like there's a few complications with Pap, and there's no point bringing him back so fast when they don't exactly need him. Jerome Hughes, very clear trading target from this week. Also, Munster's been really, really good also. So either one of them is going to be great. A few questions about Brandon Smith trading him out. There's no Harry Grant anywhere to be seen at the moment, so I'd be sticking strong with Smithy, and he's in a very great amount of form at the moment. I'd be sticking strong with him. He's been scoring really well, and a lot of people will probably be targeting him this week, so I wouldn't be doing that. Kalyn Ponga, let's see how he backs up from Wednesday night. I say there's a small chance that he plays Saturday night after coming back from a really long extended injury layoff with his groin to then play on Wednesday night and Saturday night. I don't see it, so I see him as a really valuable pickup in round 19, and maybe not being at his best, especially against the Storm team. So I'd be holding off and going him in round 19. Mitch Pearce has been good. I probably think there's a few guys ahead of him in terms of the best halfbacks in the game. Connor Watson's been great. I'll be holding on to him mainly for the fact that, yes, he can score well, but then he's your hooker backup. And with the hooking position not being so great at the moment, I'd be looking to keep him. And you can probably move on Brayley. I don't see him scoring really big against the Storm. I see probably a few missed tackles and maybe a 40-odd score. So I think this is probably the week to move him on if you have that opportunity. Let's slide along to the Warriors and Panthers. A very interesting one in this is we see Tohu Harris and Chad Townsend named on the reserve. So that'll be a 2-week return from their respective injuries. Grade 2, grade 3 shoulders. I think what we've worked out in here is you can have a really minor hamstring strain and be out for a month. You could have a pretty significant shoulder injury, AC joint injury, all that sort of stuff, and be back a lot sooner. I think, from what NRL Physio was saying, there's, obviously majority of them are 2 to 4 weeks, and this is the grade 2. So, Harris and Townsend were grade 2/grade 3, so even worse, and they've named on the reserve. So I don't imagine they get picked up to play this week, but concerning if you, like myself, traded him out in the last few weeks. So that's that with Tohu on that side of things. If you're holding there with Walsh, awesome. Rocco Berry had a decent score last week. I wouldn't be playing him on a regular basis, especially against the Panthers. If you're holding Roger, I think you can keep him for this week. He's not going to lose you any cash. Will you play him or not? That's going to be the question. So you think he'd be able to score decently against a Panthers side with they're both their halves out, and also possibility of some of their origin stars out. So keep that in mind. If you're looking at guys in the front, in the back, in the forward pack for the Warriors, then Adam Finnell-Blake is probably your man at this stage. I'd have him just ahead of Lodge. I think he's more of a chance of being a keeper long term. And we see Josh Curran in the 14 jersey. So a little bit annoying if you held on to him, you see him move back to the bench, unfortunately, especially with Tohu Harris being lingering on the sidelines too. I think Curran's probably a sell if you haven't done that. Done that as of yet. In terms of the Panthers, not too much to talk about. A few guys going to be backing up from Origin, so keep an eye out on those guys, but none of them are really too much of a pickup. If you've got Burton, you'd hold steady. Hopefully, he actually does play the 6 role and gets a fair bit more kicking involved in this one. Moving along to the Broncos and the Tigers. In this one here, we got Tessie New at the number 1 jersey. I wouldn't be picking him up, guys. Yes, this game might be fairly close. The Broncos and Tigers being the two, a couple of the most average sides in the league at the moment. But I wouldn't be going for Tessie. Yes, he's fairly cheap, but he's not a cash out. He's not going to make you a lot of money, so I wouldn't be trying to select him, too much in this one there. Kotoni Staggs have been told it has a good chance that he's going to be out with a hamstring injury, so he has been named, but just be careful of that one. If you're looking to pick up Kotoni, I'd be waiting on him at that one. Tyson Gamble's been scoring really well. Keep him in your side. He's actually going to be a bit of a cash cow at a pretty high price, but should be making a fair bit of cash and scoring well over this next little period. If Payne Haas comes out of Origin pretty well and plays sort of that 40-50 minute range, I'd be trying to select him this week, I reckon. I think he's a really good opportunity at 680k coming off an 80, so he's got a really low break even. I think this is the week to pick him up if he comes out of it unscathed. So they obviously get a little bit extra time to recover as well, being Wednesday to Sunday. So Payne Haas will be your man this week. I'll probably look to select him in that one. If you've got Rabadi, you'll get another decent score out of him, and Kobe Hetherington in the 13 jersey. Flegler's been named to come back from Origin also. So a couple little bits and pieces there. And on the Tigers one, this one really annoyed me. So they got Pauga in the centres now, and they've moved Dewey back to number 6. So it only took this long. Dewey back to 6 means he's probably going to score really well this week, and trade him out obviously a bunch of weeks ago. Dane Laurie, I think, is a trade out now if you didn't do it last week. But let's see how Dewey goes with Mbai being moved back to the 17 jersey. 12's back off the bench. You got McKaylee in the 13, so they'll split that role. If you're holding on to Lucy like myself, then I think you can continue to do so after a pretty good week from him. If you got Brooks at the moment, I think you can also hold, especially against the Broncos, and work on from there. And move on to the last game of the round, guys. The Bunnies and the Dogs there. Latrell, all the boys have been named to return. Who knows if they'll actually will? I completely doubt it. Against the Bulldogs, there's probably no point playing all these guys. If they got Walker and Reynolds to steer the ship around. Walker, Reynolds, Johnson, and Tane Milne seems like a pretty solid foursome there to beat the Bulldogs. So I wouldn't be too stressed. I wouldn't be looking to pick up a Latrell or anything like that until possibly next week or the week after. The rest of the guys on this side, not too much to talk about apart from maybe Damien Cook as being a slight option in the next few rounds, and also Murray if you like that dual position status there with Cam. On the dog side, the only thing to really stress about at the moment is Averillo and Lockie Lewis taking a lot of his kick meters away from him, which I think will continue to happen this week, and especially against a bunny side, I think they're going to be getting beat pretty badly. So that's like the slight worry with Jake, but I think you can hold on to him for the next little period anyway and work it out from there. Last thing to talk about, guys, is just the Josh Jackson move. So he's actually been moved from 13 to 12. So I'm not sure if this is going to be a permanent thing or if this will change on game day, but Renu Fatoni has been moved back into the 13 role. Jackson moved to 12. So they weren't happy with, obviously, Stimson in that position. So he's been moved back to the bench, and Jackson back to 12. So he shouldn't score as well in that jersey, guys. So just be wary of that. But I wouldn't be looking to trade him out at all at this stage. So there you go, guys. That's the run through of those team lists in round 18. Let me know what they did for you, if any of those are good signs. But as I said, the most important thing is just be watching the late mail before every game and look out for NRL Physio and as I said, any of the late mail going through the next few days, and you'll be able to make a good side heading into round 18. Let me know what trades you're going to make, guys, and we'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one.